For the last 4-ish months, I was surrounded by a lot of creative people and just really inspiring people. So we managed to knock out like 2 spec ads, 2 short films. But what I want to talk about specifically today is one of our short films, The Gray Sea. Now I want to talk a lot about the message and the reasons why we made such a heavy topic for a short film, but I want to get the meh stuff out the way. Let's talk about some gear, or at least talk about how we made the thing. First things first, which is probably why you clicked on this video in the first place, is lenses. Specifically, the Cooke S4Is. Before the popularity of digital cinematography and filmmaking, one of the biggest decisions that a cinematographer can make regarding the character of their image was the film stock they picked. The stock you put into your film camera was the thing that was going to create the most character for your image, and that's something that DPs are always looking for, character. But when the surge of digital filmmaking started to take hold, the role of film stock became obsolete as far as character went when you picked up your Red One or your new RE camera that could shoot digital. And what took over in the character department was the decision of lenses. Now you may have heard of this holy grail of cinematography called the Cooke look. It's a look I'm obsessed with. It's a look that many of the shows and movies I've watched have used to such a great effect. And I want to do the same with this. It was a powerful project that we were doing, and we thought, you know what, it could use a little bit of oomph in the cinematography department since we're not really using big lighting setups. What can we do to really give it a look? So we rented just one Cooke S4i, the 32mm. And what that did for the camera was truly give it a new, I want to say depth really. You could see it in the richness of the colors, the way the focus falls off from the skin into the backdrop, looking shallow but still seeming natural and not dreamlike. And the way skin tones was rendered and the way color was also rendered is just something I would never get from something like my trusty Sigmas, or the muddiness of something like my vintage lenses like the Helios here, or something of that nature. It allowed the film to look extremely vivid, but still capture a sense of natural movement with these characters going through an extremely challenging thing. As for the camera body, like most of the short films I've shot lately, I used my Ursa Mini Pro G2. She is a workhorse. She has been through the desert, she's been through blizzards, she's been through friggin' everything, and she is still kicking. And the way the Ursa has always done colors, the Cooke just put it in Super Saiyan mode. It's been a hot second since I've seen a camera and a lens really complement each other this much. Blackmagic has really put an emphasis on colors, runs in line with the way that Cooke likes to capture this warmth and vividness through their glass. As for why we picked the 32mm, we didn't want something that was overtly wide angle. That's pretty much the thing to do nowadays. You slap on something like a 16mm, no more than a 24mm, and you get this very wide open, field of play for your characters. But we wanted something that remained a little bit personal, but we were still able to be in the presence of the character and also the presence of their environment without getting too, distorted on the edges, or without feeling too telephoto. This is a very personal and very immersive story that we wanted to maintain those two feelings with our audience. So the 32mm felt like the best bet to go. And for the most part, I have no regrets. Do I wish for sometimes I had a 50mm or a 75? Maybe. But honestly, there was never a time where I was shooting with the 32mm that I thought, wow, I wish I could punch in more or get more of the space. As for the lighting, we had 2 lights on this entire film. The sun and an Amaran 60X. Yes, that's right. We had a $3,000 lens on a $10,000 camera rig, and we're using a relatively cheap light, probably the cheapest light in Aperture's lineup, or Amaran, whatever. I'm a guy who is a glutton for natural light, but I also know my limitations now as far as window light. Take one of the bigger parts of the film, the house. At some points it looks like we are just using window lighting, but if you can tell kind of like in the hue of the backdrop and in the shadows and the way we're trying to add a little more shape to characters, what we did to boost the natural light and get that goal, took the 60X, we put the Fresnel mount in front, and we just beamed it into the corner, so that way we just shape the direction more. It's subtle, but it does make a difference. And it was nice that we could change the color temperature on it. We can make all of our flashback shots have a different vibe. We really wanted to do something else, like take something like a 1200D and beam hard light through the window and with some haze to create those beams and that vector lighting, but man, we ain't got no money, we ain't got no time, so you get what you get. But no regrets. I think for what we had and what we used, this has probably been one of the best looking short films I've been a part of. And as far as camera stabilization, it was just tripod, handheld. That's it. Well, except for one shot. The original story creator, Jadarius Duncan, yeah, he was on the floor gripping the ends of a bath towel. On that bath towel was a chair, which I had the camera, and he was just dragging himself on the floor, shimmying back on his stomach, moving this towel back. So we got this dolly slide effect on the chair because, man, we ain't getting no slider for this. We ain't getting no dolly. So we just, you know what, it freaking worked. Yeah, there might have been a little jerky movement there and there, but hey, no little image stabilizer can't fix. And of course, sound. We got what I'm using here for YouTube. The Rode NTG5. It's my go-to. Hey, if I get some money one day, I'll buy a Shep's mic or something. I'll blow $3 on a friggin' shotgun. You know, it is what it is. But it did everything I need to do just to capture live sound and just have a little bit of, you know, depth behind the voiceover that drove the narrative. By the way, if you like the music that you're listening to in this YouTube video, check out the link that I have in my description below. It's my affiliate link for Track Club. I was actually using Track Club before they ever reached out. I'm a big fan of how they use mixing and mastering so that you can really dial in the actual song that you want for your clips. I love it. If you use the link below, you also get 1 month free on your subscription to Track Club. So if you want to try it out for a month and see if Track Club's good for you, go ahead and click that link. Okay, bye. All in all, there were a lot of ways we could have done this film. We could have rented an RE Alexa, we could have just used my Blackmagic, but at the end of the day, we had gear at our disposal and we made a decision. What gear is going to best support the story? And that's the biggest thing we need to take away from this video, and quite frankly, any video that talks about gear in filmmaking. Gear, like your cameras, your lenses, your mics, your lights, they are not what makes stories. They are simply designed to support you, the creative and the storyteller. Just because you're lacking something in the gear department or the G&E doesn't mean you can't execute the thing you're going for. Learn how to utilize your environment, learn how to maximize the potential of all the gear you have, and practice, practice, practice. Go out and make a spec ad, see how your lenses are going to react when put in harsher scenarios or scenarios that you might need a little extra dynamic range. See what happens and then make a decision. And if you really think something deserves a little more oomph for a project, then by all means, be smart with your money. Save up a little. Rent that Cooke lens, slap it on your Blackmagic or your Sony or whatever you have, and rock out that story. Because trust me, it may look good, it may sound good, and it may be lit well, but at the end of the day, story and characters are going to remain king when you make a film. But wait, there's more. Literally like a month after we did this film, we did another short film, which had not completely, but an extremely different filming philosophy. And is another great reason why we didn't use something like the Cooke, we didn't use something like the Sigmas, we used something like this. I want to sneak in a video about why we made something like the Gray C and the importance of something like the Gray C. And once we're doing that, we move into herself. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the patience. I've really been trying to dial in this studio setup and all like the lights. I finally got myself a little bit of a lighting kit going on. Ooh, look out, he's fancy now. But thank you for your patience. Thank you for still enjoying this channel. Regardless, you know, hate it, love it, I'm here and I'm trying to get back on track with YouTube. And the Six Shop, as per usual, is still cooking up some great things. If you've had experience with Cooke lenses or any of the gear we talked about in this video, throw it in the comments. I do love a good discussion. And I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.